All right, I'm just busting with joy over here. I wanted to also remind everyone here that we oftentimes engage in activities that don't require us to talk. Like we could be washing dishes, we could, be doing something, writing. There's many of us have crafts. We do artisan work with our hands. This is also a perfect time for breathing, and that sometimes goes overlooked. We sometimes think that the mind should be completely disengaged, because in fact, when you're doing your artisan work, your mind is disengaged. So you win that there, and it's a perfect time to go into the meditation. But also for maximizing the breath, of course, if you're just sitting still and you're doing nothing, you're using none of your mobile skills, then you have the greater benefit. But I've always seen breath as training. And even in my extent of meditating for 6 months and just building energy with the breath, I realized that it didn't need any thought. Like you didn't need to think about what you wanted to receive. You just needed to build and harmonize the energy, and that the consciousness was so vast that it would then put the scaffolding and then put up the building and the architecture around what it was that you needed to project. But you just needed to have that energy vessel full and ready to be utilized by the consciousness. And that's why this has everything to do with creativity. Also, I used to use the opportunities of standing in line, because you can line up the legs and center yourself on your body, standing in line when you're waiting for something or sitting down somewhere. The other day, I took one breath in the awareness of, oh, I can breathe right now. And I took that one breath, and of course, filling up all of the areas that you start to stretch out as you begin to take the breaths, the diaphragm, etc., and blowing that entire vessel up for that one moment, and then letting it stew into the prana, just brought the consciousness immediately to another level. The heart was beating, the ears were tingling, and you just realize how just such a powerful being you truly are. And it motivates you to come into the physical reality and make the change. That's been the big thing that I've been on personally myself in my unlearning process, is to realize also the power in, as we breathe in, we breathe out, and coming into the physical reality, and doing something that actually creates a solution for people with this power and intelligence. Yeah, we all came here today also in unity. There is, again, some very auspicious things going on. Our sister Neva was reminding me about, there's this 9-day process that they say happens every 100,000. Like we're talking about massive timelines that come in sync in this moment. And again, I've been mentioning this. I talk about this. I'm never shy to mention it again, that if you notice the lineup of the numbers, even on the Gregorian calendar, there is a synchronization that's happening, because you get certain days that keep aligning. You get your 111s, you get your nines, you get all of these different things all in the numerology. But what is it telling us? What is it for? Because to me, I like to synthesize everything. That's why I say I'm in the power of unlearning now. And what it's saying is that this moment comes into sync like gateways that all need to come into alignment. And at that same time, when it's happening, though, this is corresponding to the consciousness actually reaching this stage. Also, it's not an external phenomena. You're actually morphing the entire field that's around you at all times. And so this lineup, these numbers, you'll start to see in any reality that you start lining up in. So I always now draw upon the power of being able to see oneself from the all, from the totality, rather than the individual divisional, right? And this to me, and I'm not going to get it into Thursday's presentation, but this to me is a big key in recorrecting the algorithm of originality, and starting to let the consciousness reside in a phase of totality long enough to where it completes a cycle. And it's done obviously when we go into our meditations, but it's also our physical lives, our actual daily conjecture, our daily vernacular, that does come into direct question to our true intentions, meaning that even to speak is to divide. And so how to understand the laws, the true laws of karma and dharma. I remember reading a long time ago that it said that for one to even mention karma and dharma, they must carefully study these laws and what they mean. And so there's a general context that karma means the thing that you inherit when you do something bad, and dharma is the stuff you get when you do something good. And that's not what karma and dharma mean. It's actually something totally, it's so much more deeper than that, because even what you do and you question why you do, you ask yourself, even at times, can you avoid doing? Meaning that we do things at times that we know that we don't want to do, but something is impelling us to actually even do it. And we call that the karma, whether it's even a good action or a bad action. So these simple introspections, this would be surgeon's work, Thursday, that I'm going to be coming in with consciously and metaphysically, surgeon's work of going in and removing what I feel like in the beginning when it says that, and we gave them our minds. This is a being that's speaking as a creator versus we're unbegotten. So we haven't been created in the highest stage of our consciousness. So it says, when we gave them our minds, what did it give in the mind? It gave conversation to speak, like even the word wheel. If you think about these words, they're all there, like you can't reinvent the wheel. But let's look at the wheel carefully. What do you see on the wheels? You see the spoke, right? So the spoke is the word. So you see how that connects? It's like, how is the wheel being held up? Or how is the world, which is a wheel, being held up? How is the world, which is the word, being held up? It's being held up through the spoke, what you're saying. So if what you're saying is division, even if on your spiritual consciousness level you've reached unity, there's a separation between you and your spiritual consciousness level. And to remove that film, is to turn oneself into to turn oneself into self. Like it's like to turn you in to actually to create a torus into your entire consciousness, which can be done in different ways. And I'm presenting a way to do it through the linguistic system in the consciousness and awareness of what one believes is self. Because I believe that we need proof at this stage. The deprogramming process is important to have proof or confirmation with why we are doing certain things, because of getting into the envelopment of this world as we've created now. Meaning that when someone says, okay, I believe in something, then knowing doesn't come into play until they know. So if I say, well, why does it do this? There are some that would say, well, it just does. And that is a perfected stage. And then there's one that says it does it exactly because of this. This is how the mechanics work. And that is a perfected stage. Where we sometimes find consciousness is in this gray area where it's the person is taking someone else's word for it, which is a belief. Or they haven't completely understood the science. They haven't got into the laboratories and work with the electrics or work with the chemicals. You know, you work with chemicals, you'll learn this knowledge on an entirely different level. But it's still to really, really, if this is a treasure, okay, and this is a treasure house, what happens is that to leave with these treasures is something that few have done. It's like when you accumulate a lot of things, let's say everything that you experience is a treasure. So when you accumulate a lot of things, what if the big head crack, as they call it here, is that now you go to try to leave with it and you can't take it with you. This is like the parable of the person that is dying, cannot take their wealth with them. But what I'm saying is that no, you wouldn't be able to take it in that condition. You would have to synthesize it and make it so small that you would be able to leave and pass through into your next existence with it. And just in having it, you would be aware of all of your existences. You would live lucid in the dream. And this is what is being presented. This is what Sovereignty 2020 is not only bringing and has bought, but is all about. It's a totally different thing than even the mind had been able to conceive in its current stage. That's what I was saying. Like, you know, I went through a process of just continuously regenerating, and I'm still regenerating after a long haul, a long trip of us synchronizing ourselves. Like I keep saying, it's not the external reality, it's what we're doing internally in this group, in this tribe. And all of those intentions now focused on specific things is actually bringing about those things. And it's bringing it also about in the weights and measures that are proper, in the orders and magnitude that is proper for us to be able to digest it, because that's the biggest thing. Like there's a lot of knowledge out there, and now what we're really centered into most is how do we digest that knowledge. And this breath that we're going to be learning about here, the synthesis of this breath, is how we would begin to digest these things. So for all those that have just coming in and just joining, we're going to be joined in a moment by a master teacher of breath, a breatharian. There are few on the planet at this stage, especially willing to talk and willing to converse, because after all of that burns energy. So this is a very special time for us. For all those who may have any questions, and obviously you can line them up here or line them up on your end, and obviously the presentation will go forward, and then once complete, we'll address those questions accordingly. Yeah, it's a very special day. As I mentioned, it's auspicious because it is supposedly the turning of I like to look at the balance. Like some of these are like the good must overthrow the evil. And that it didn't go too well. I got a lot of work that shows that the urges and the passions are what create the experience. So when you remove them, it's like removing the yin or the yang, and you get no motion. So I can't really subscribe with people that just want to overthrow what they feel is dark or negative, because I feel like that's an old state of consciousness. What we're talking about is this is the 9 days that we come into balance, because that actually sounds more of like what the perfect 9 would be about. See, when you look at things, right, let's say for instance with the scale, if we have 3 on this side, 3 on this side, we still have to have 1 point in the middle that actually balances the scale. And this is kind of like the tricky part of numbers, because sometimes we don't see that. So 9, it's balanced because 4 sit over here, 4 sit over here, 1 sits in the middle. Just like 7, it's like 3 sits over here, 3 sits over here, 1 sits in the middle. And these are states that bring about balance more so than polarities, which is the good has now overthrown the evil. And so the truth is that when we shift our consciousness, we're controlling the vehicle. That's why they call it the craft. We're controlling where the consciousness is moving. So if we keep moving into enemy territories and dangerous waters, then that's where we'll go. And hopefully the rigging will sustain the imagination's creations of monsters, okay? Or what we could do is we could start to continuously project a harmonic field until it hits a complete ring. That's why people don't see things right away, is because like they say, well, I was doing it for a little bit and I guess it didn't work. It's like, well, how long did you do it? And with what intention? Because if it doesn't run 1 anu, if it doesn't run 1 circumference, 1 360 degrees where you did it long enough to turn a complete ring, then you didn't gain it. You will never see the result of it. And that's positive or negative. And so we're in this challenge to just complete, to just be there, to just go through, to just triumph, and to then learn from our experience. And so that's what I've been doing. And it's hitting a quantum stage at this point. And it's also culminating with the arrival of its other, that's the new platform, and all of its subsequent projections, which is all the things that I would inherit and we would inherit in this projection. And so it's like, but you got to be sound on that. You would have to vibrate that all the time. That's what we're getting at here. You would have to feel that within every core, every essence of the being. If you could get, well, actually, let me say, if you could get to 25%, you'll be great on this plane. If you could do 50, you're doing something what people call weird. If you could do 75, they'll look for you in the cosmos. And if you get 100, then this opens up different levels of the game. And I cannot express enough to everyone that it is indeed like a game that you have to master. But what I mean by a game is that there's a real existence, totality. So anything opposite to that or a reflection of that is a game. It's an illusion. When I say a game, I mean an illusion. And being aware of that allows you to be a master in this, because other than that, you'd be clutching and clinging into things so much. You would start having a very, very, what is the entropic experience. You would start to wane at a certain point from the weight of not being able to let it go. Because notice the dream. It's the quantum field. You can be in there with the wife, the kids, the danger, the guns, the drugs, all of what the meat, the nightmare, the monster and everything. But at the end of the day, you wake up and you forget. That is quantum, because in the experience, you're completely there. But also, you know, you're not really there. You see what I mean? Like the dream is the biggest example. That's why I told people years ago, I said, hey man, I don't really play around with the dream because I don't really understand it. What I do know is that there's certain things that it seems to know how to do. Like one, cook up my worst nightmare as if it has access to what my worst nightmare actually is. And also kind of give me the information about the next day. I think we're ready almost. If you could purify the dream, it will give you the information of the next day. I used to dream the previous day, the next day, and then wake up and live it. It was quite odd, but it works. And when the dream field starts to get cluttered, when life gets anywhere to a stage where you're focusing on more things than just that, right? Which is just moving your lens and your focus over to something else, then those powers recede, but those powers are there, right? So it's almost like we have this Excalibur, but then it's like, do we really want to grab it? And that's really what starts letting us know about the character of self. Okay, so we're ready. All right, so
yes.
good.
Just a little bit about him. Elitom El Amin is an internationally recognized teacher and breatharian. Elitom has mastered the science leading to living on energy and lives without the need for food or water. He shares his worldwide and daily extraordinary knowledge and experience in the field of human photosynthesis. He's a renowned expert in the field of energy. His mastery illustrates the potential of each of us, right, as humans to step beyond what we perceive as physical laws, right? Elitom teaches and how to live in health and harmony through growing and mastering our energy flow. He has taught primarily in Africa, India, and the Middle East. He has been, of course, interviewed by many, many people, you know. So for, like Seven said before, for a breatharian to actually come out and share his knowledge and his experience with us is amazing. I will share his website with everyone with the link. And of course, if you're not, if you don't follow him on Facebook, he's also on YouTube. He's an author as well. So on his website, you'll find some of his videos and books. He's the author of The Universe is User Friendly. And I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. It's Okay to Be Healthy and the Human Photosynthesis 101. So I'm really super, super excited to introduce Elitom El Amin, friendly breatharian. Wholeness, brother.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
All right, we got it. It's so good to meet y'all. This is good when we could get together and share so we could grow higher.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, brother. And, you know, we're just jumping in. We've been here. We were building. We've been waiting on you. And wow, I was, again, saying to Widgeby, you know, to have a breatharian come in to say something to us is truly special. We know it's a special day also. There's a lot happening. And we're bringing this thing into balance, into a perfect synthesis. So what better to be doing to listen to, you know, the master breather. So I'm not going to take up the space at all. I just wanted to actually to be here to receive and to really connect with you. Wholeness.
Oh, thank you for so much for inviting me. Thank everybody. And this is a great age, like you said, that we're living in. Now, I'm a breatharian, and that's what I call myself. There's many names for Airtarian, living on prana, living on chi, but it all means the same thing. Now, I've been on this journey for a couple decades now. And on this journey, it goes back to ancient knowledge that deals with a word called anidia. And anidia is the ancient word for fasting, which means to eat very little or none at all. Now, we've been hearing about throughout the centuries, he who eat less live longer and stuff like this. But this knowledge is making a recomeback on the art and the skill on how to eat very little or none at all. Because the name of the game, since we have increased in knowledge in society, is energy, frequency, and vibration. Let me repeat that. Energy, frequency, and vibration. That's the name of the game. And when you learn the rules of the game on how to raise your frequency and vibration, you can actually open up yourself more into the universe, becoming one with it when you are actually a self-sustaining entity. See, we're living this, and it's all around us. We're living in the bottom of gases. Now, they're unseen, you understand, these forces, but once you understand that these forces affect us more than things that are visible, you can actually start working with these forces that dictates our health. We get energy from the sun. We pull energy from the earth. We're breathing this energy from nature. But see, that word nature is even deceptive. What does that mean? As you go back where they got the word from, that comes from the netta root. Now, it still don't make sense to a lot of people because they get into the concept that it was the worship of all of these different gods. But it's not saying that. It's just saying that there's different rules in creation, different energies. They all expressing from one source, but it's how you come in attunement and alignment with these energies. And this is a health message. It's a holistic health message. Now, when we look at that word holistic, that means your whole being must be into it. It's not just because you're on a certain diet and all of a sudden you're holistic. You understand? It's the way you breathe, you walk, the way you think, the way you have your relationships. All of this is nourishment for the totality of the human being. Now, stress is, how should I say, the culprit of the human body. Now, the main stress we got is the stress of eating food. As soon as you put something in your body, it automatically puts a stress on the body. Now, as I say this now, this knowledge comes in levels and degrees. You got to pick to where you at. See, when I came into this journey, I took the step journey when I began to lighten up my diet. And right now we're getting a memo where we are getting that knowledge that some foods are more acidic than others. Some foods hold a higher energy than others. There we go again. It's all about energy. See, now going food free is basically saying, okay, you still need energy and you needed to get it from somewhere. So that's why meditation is the foundation of this journey. It ain't about putting tape on your mouth. Now, meditation is a loose word. Everybody says they meditate. But as I go around my journeys on the planet again, 99.9% of the people don't really understand the magnitude and the effect of using this tool and what it should lead you to. See, if you really know what meditation is for, you should not even get sick, because all meditations, no matter what it is, should be geared to open up your energy channels in your body, because we are energy beings by our nature. You see energy. When you go, those who wear glasses, you go get your eyes checked to see what type of frequency you see. We hear frequencies, and there's not a physical physicist on this planet will not say that you're not an energy being. All of them will agree with it. That's why this is a good age we're in, because it's so easy to teach breatharianism. That's what I call it. Don't get so caught up in the breatharians or the word. To be the tree of life that it talked about in the scriptures, a self-sustaining energy, one with the cosmos. This is not far-fetched. This is how I'm living my life, and I'm manifesting it. Now, what get me on this journey, so we won't keep talking philosophy. It happened because of health complications. I was on the standard American diet, you know, the African American soul food diet, you know, the heavy fried foods, the chickens, the, you know, ribs and all this other stuff. We understand what it is. But not just on that aspect, the standard American diet is heavy. So I began to be overweight. Blood pressure began to go up. But however, everybody in my reality was the same way. So I began to get desperate to make changes. So that goes to show you that suffering is a good thing, because suffering leads you to do something about it. So the first thing I had to do was figure out praying wasn't going to do it. I had to put legs with this prayer. You understand? Because I'm the one that made myself sick. So you have the power to make yourself healthy. So out of nowhere one day, somebody told me to leave meat alone. Now, being desperate and knowing there needed to be changes made, I left all meats alone. And immediately I began to see health improvements on my physical body. And I began to lose weight by living alone the denser energy. Then I began to learn the Hebrew Israelite, not picking religion or anything, but I'm just saying that's why I learned a lot about a holistic lifestyle. Do you understand? Because this isn't a religion. This isn't given to a creed or anything like that, or a culture, which it is a culture, a lifestyle. This is for everybody who understands the words that's coming out of my mouth, because everything is working with energy again. See, what makes me different than the average person is, it ain't that I got an extra heart or got an extra lung. I became good at working with the energy forces around. Everybody have access to it. So a breatharian is a person who is better working at energy than another person. Is this making sense? However, I had to start from somewhere. Perfect practice make perfect. So again, as I'm on my journey, I began to pick up diet, exercise, those are foundations. Then I began to run into fasting once a week in my lifestyle. Now that got the body into a new cycle and a new habit, because we're creatures of habit. At first, the fast was hard if you've never done it before, but over a period of time, my body began to look forward to that new fasting that took place every week. So it got used to the new program. Now look how I use that word program. Now look how I use that word program. All education and knowledge you have is a program. See, a person is a program. That's what a human being is. And you are functioning due to the application or the download of information that you have. If you want to make a change, you have to get a new download or another application, because this body that you're living in is a bio machine. It's a biocomputer. It takes on information and it knows how to get rid of old information and replace it. However, just like any download, it don't happen instantly. There's a process to take place. You know how you download something on your cell phone, on an application? 30%, 60%. The more you start staying on this lifestyle and start transforming yourself, the more that this new application is going to be downloaded into the cells of the body. Once your body got this download, excuse me for 1 second here. What is that?
It's a download, brother. No worries.
It's a download.
It's a download.
Ding, ding, ding. Right. Revelation came.
Everybody connected.
Here we go now. That was what's happening. But that's what actually takes place. I'm glad that happened. That was spirit again. See, when you come into these things and you're not used to them, at first it seems like it's difficult. And it's hard for you right now to wrap your head around being food-free. Don't worry about being food-free. This is a health message. You should worry about your current health. See, because when you start getting healthier, what is the first thing you say that know you got healthier? I got more energy. Here we go now. And there was something you had to leave alone before. You understand? To make that happen, and you incorporate it into your lifestyle. So here's the foundation. First of all, where you at, don't worry about food freedom. First, worry about the energy that you're putting in your body. And then I'm going to tell you something that's even more powerful. The less you eat, the longer you live. Now, is this making sense now? Chew your food. See, the more you chew it into a liquid, it takes energy to digest food. I remember I used to eat food. As soon as I sit down, in 2 minutes, the whole plate will be gone. You understand? I wasn't chewing it. But your body is going to digest it, but it takes so much energy to digest it. So when you sit down and you enjoy your meals and chew it thoroughly, that will help with the energy cultivation of the organism. This is what we're dealing with right now. This is a machine, and this is the way you're going to have to start looking and treating your body. Oh, here we go now. So now we got what? Diet, exercise. Exercise is very, very powerful. If you want to transform,
We can still hear you, brother. Maybe the picture may have went out, but we can hear you.
All right, you can hear me. So
Absolutely.
Exercise, the key word is EX on the beginning of it. That's a word within itself. You know, ex-mayor, to exit something, but the main thing is an exorcism. When you exercise your body, you are breaking up blockages. In ancient times, that's what they call a demon or an entity that's plaguing you. See, your physical body, we was taught to say you got a physical body, an emotional body, a mental body, a spiritual body. That's how this language separated and got everybody in duality. But you don't have those different bodies. You only got one body. You understand? You're looking at a spirit. I am a spirit. When I see you, you are a spirit. You understand? So when you're eating these different foods and you got these different blockages in the body, exercise is a tool to do an exorcism, to release those different things that's holding you back. Oh, I got to get rid of these downloads. So exercise, we ain't saying you got to get a membership to the gym, but the body loves and is designed to move. See, by the human being's nature, we are the longest walking animal on the planet. Not the fastest, but you're the longest walking animal when you're healthy. You understand? So getting a routine when you start, see, now listen at this one, what I'm about to say. If you're eating food, you need to exercise. So if you're going to choose to eat, you better learn to start moving that energy. There's a price to pay, you understand? If you're eating food, you need to drink water. There's a price to pay because everything you put in your body produces mucus. You know, when you wake up in the morning, hawkering all that up out of you, that is that slimy substance that your body created. And it did it to help you and keep you alive so the food could go down more, you know, through the system more better, like a lubricant that your body made. But when you keep eating too much of it, keep making too much of that lubricant. That's why when there's a season change, a person catches a cold. They start spitting up stuff. They start catching a flu. But I guarantee you, if you do a fast before a season change, you won't catch a flu. You won't catch a cold. You got to get all of that stuff out of you. Now, there is a thing called a mucusless diet. It ain't saying that fruit does not produce some form of inflammation or mucus in the body. It's not saying that. But what happened is fruit has a lot more distilled water in it, you understand? And it's lighter on the body. It's lighter on the body. So now that helps you even more. But your body produces its own water because as you live in this atmosphere, I want everybody to take their hand, get real relaxed, and just feel the atmosphere in front of you. You can feel moisture in it. And I don't even need to know where you're located at. It doesn't matter. You're living in water. See, there's a fish living in the ocean right now. It don't realize it lives in water. That's its environment that you live in. So your body is a good absorber. When you start getting healthier, you understand. And when you start getting less mucus out of the system, you will become less thirsty. And when you become less thirsty, your body will pull from the atmosphere what it needs, but you must get it back to that level. Now listen at this. This is getting good now. So the foundation, diet, exercise, now meditation. Here we go now. We got to get into it. Meditation is the foundation of this journey. There's meditations working with light, meditations working with visualization, meditation working with sound, meditation working with movement. I could go on and on. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of different modes of meditation. You have to rotate and listen to your spirit and find the one that you like doing. But again, the goal of every meditation should be to open up the energy channels that's in the body. We're full of energy channels, and these channels can easily get blocked up just through everyday living. See, the body's resilient. You don't live in a crystal clean environment, not at all. Even nature itself produces different forms of stress and toxicity. You understand? So you won't be all, I can't do this and I can't do that. But the body's good at getting rid of stress or these different things of toxicity when you put it in the right position and you allow it to. Now, we live in an electromagnetic universe. We could use that word loosely now, because science is saying now that all physical matter has an electromagnetic field around it, even our physical bodies. And this is a good age as I'm talking and teaching this, because you can't even refute it. We have machines and computers that can see this electromagnetic field around the body. We got different forms of color photography, and we got all types of other computer software that you can purchase yourself or go get it done to see your energy field that's coming off your body. Everybody that's walking around has it. And it's constantly changing itself, where everything you put in your body, your thought process, and everything you put on your body. This is why the Breatharian journey is a holistic lifestyle. The reason why I'm food free, because I am totally holistic. And it shows because I'm totally healthy. You understand? That's the results. That's the barometer you go off of. Now, we're not saying you need to beat up on yourself and go totally food free. It depends what style is, what experience that you're having. You understand? And we do have different degrees of age. That does mean something. Different life experiences. Are you married? Are you single? Do you choose to be single? You understand? Because every relationship you're in, you're at least going to share 50% of that person's other mind, hands down. You understand? So we're not saying it's right or wrong. You are a creator of the different energies of your life. It depends on what you want to create. But as I introduce this information, what I'm telling you is you do not have to go on this pandemic that's taking place around the planet right now, dealing with preventable diseases. That means it did not have to happen. It could have been prevented through a lifestyle change. Again, everybody's working with energy. However, people have been abusing the energies through ignorance. You understand? My people are being destroyed for lack of knowledge. You don't understand what's taking place with these energies. You don't have to catch high blood pressure. And if you got it, meditation is so powerful. When you understand what that tool is for, you can heal yourself from any sickness, illness, and disease. Let me repeat, because your foundation is energy. You have neurons coming from the brain, going all through the body. It could be measured now. And you have an electrical body, and that's the foundation, and it works hand in hand with your chemical body, which is your endocrine system. You let off, when the sun is out, your pineal gland gives off a hormone called serotonin. When the moon comes out, it lets off a hormone called melatonin. Your whole body gives off different hormones. We're like bags of hormones walking around. Plus, you got your sexual energy coming from your hip. So when you look at the different ancient symbologies, in Egypt, they had the serpent coming up the staff. All of us been indoctrinated into the Bible some type of way, where there's a serpent in the Garden of Eden story. You got Shiva and Shakti in India. And even in the health industry, you got the caduceus as a symbol of health, where the pole with the serpent is coming up this pole. So this heat that's in the body that's coming from the hip area, that right there is what we used to call the kundalini energy, the serpent fire. We don't need to use that no more. We can use the word just life force energy, the vital energy of the body. That's the energy you want to start coming upwards to start replacing the energy that's needed to fuel and power the brain. That's how you activate your third eye. Plus, our third eye is saturated in melanin. All human beings have what you call neuromelanin, the black dot, the black substance. So when you start coming back into wholeness, you understand this black substance, melanin, is so powerful. It is a harvesting chemical that's used to harvest light. That's why you always see your pharaohs and stuff. They say Ra was God, Ra's the sun. R-A, that's where we get the word radiation from. Radiant, radio. You understand? We get all of those words dealing with that frequency, that force. So when you start cleaning and purging out your vessel that has melanin inside of it, and then you got some people on the outside that's more melanated than others, because your darker complected melanated people are closer to the sun, to the equator due to our ancestry. You understand? So you got a given going for you. When you clean out your body, your melanin will work at a higher octave to harness 99.9% of the UV radiation coming from the sun. And it converts it into heat, which heat is energy. It's power. That's all your organs need. That's why you eat in the first place, for energy. Oh, I'm feeling low on energy, so you go get something to eat. But when you start meditating, cleaning yourself out, this harvested chemical that we call melanin, we got neuromelanin, eumelanin for your darker complected people, and pheomelanin for your lighter complected people. But it don't matter. Everybody can do it. It's just the way how the melanin is being used due to your, energy makeup. But again, it's there. It's the chemical of life that's in us, and it's associated with carbon. But carbon is an element. We're carbon-based beings, you understand? And carbon is a good conductor of energy, just like copper, just like diamonds. Now, remember I said this body is an instrument. If you want to live a good life in this realm, it only makes sense you should take care of your instrument. See, the light has the value that you give it. If you don't have value for your instrument or for the light, it's going to be displayed on how your life is being going. See, you are worth more than man-made money. See, that's why the scripture says you're rich, even though I know your afflictions. You have the richness in you when you understand your value, and you can be food free. And it's more than just food freedom. It builds so much freedom that I'm a free man. I'm not connected to nothing. You understand? That's what we call detachment. Because when you come back into your power and understand that you're one with the universe, one with nature, your desires get small. Just live life. And I don't care who you are, how much materialism of what you have. When your body feels bad with aches and pains, you ain't enjoying life. Absolutely not. We can see now, and we're waking up. So get in to harvesting. You understand this energy. Now let me bring this to you. Now you might say, well, Elitom, I might say, but I do want to do certain things. We're not saying that. See, the energy is so powerful. When your third eye opens up, you can magnetize anything you want to you to have your life experience. This is the good part. That's why you're rich. But you must understand It's with the inside of you where the kingdom is located. And when you clean yourself out from the inside out, your external picture, remember I said we like computers? The information is the download, but the computer printout that come out on the screen is how your life is going. It's just like when I get done with this interview, I'm in Florida right now. I'm gonna go enjoy the clouds in the sky, come one with the sun, look at all the different reflections of people, say hi to people, shake their hands, have conversations, and everything I said didn't cost nothing. You're living life because you're happy. Any questions?
Wow, that was powerful, brother. I don't even know how they can come behind that with any questions. Woo! Man, I don't even want to say nothing.
Hey, and you know what? The best information is silence.
Yes.
Let's just sit on it for a minute. That's heavy. This is where we at now.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. And again, as we come together to express this with one another, see, it ain't about me being a teacher. A true student could get information out of anybody. We're one entity. See, it's about coming back into the unified consciousness. You got to look at stuff for its wholeness. And guess what? This is what I got to say to our people. You don't have an enemy. That's self-created within the mind. Because even when you look at something that's an enemy that's trying to get you, the source created it.
Yes.
It came from the same source. So start getting comfortable in breaking the fear-based frequency. Yes. You can do it. This is where we at. You can do it.
Yes. I'm in total alignment, brother. Like, wow, like I can't even say nothing on the whole thing because I mean, I got a chance to talk a little bit before you jumped on. And man, you came in with the nice toppings on the whole thing. I mean, it was just this, it was the same, and it was the microcosmic synthesis, and it was also very clear. So I'm sure everyone here enjoyed just the connection with knowledge and with power and with original self and the unity of self. And I do want to, since there's probably going to be a few questions, let's do this. If you do have a question for the brother, especially while he's here, you can type that into the chat. You can type question before that, and Wijby can then send those questions to me here on WhatsApp, and then I can get those around to him. And so we'll just take about 5 minutes right now just for you to get your question ready. If you do have something, we do want to, of course, respect the brother's time. Also, I want to let you know that I will have this on YouTube, brother, so others can be exposed to this great connection with self and this joy, even for this day, as we're going into these auspicious times of what I said earlier was balancing out these forces, and for us to know that for sure happens within. And that, yes. Yes.
And see, I was walking past a tree one day, and this sounds simple, but this is real. You've seen the sun there, and you've seen the fruits on the tree, but the fruits that were closer to the sun were darker, and the fruits that were further away from the sun were lighter. They were all the same fruit, you understand? See, your reality in this kingdom, what we're talking about, this is going to come from our imagination, our mind. We don't need to recreate the same thing that already was created. This is going to bring us in right now into a whole new paradigm shift, working with our power, because Adam is creating as he goes. Thank you so much, brother, for that great opening. And thanks for inviting me on this show.
Oh man, the pleasure is all ours, brother. Like, I mean, as I was saying, it's a very rare event, and we respect that. You're also in a space of those that have been working for years on their consciousness, so they're definitely ready to receive. They see everything as a synchronistic synthesis, as I was saying. It's just like the perfection and in alignment, also with the confirmation, and that's what I like. What you built on of bringing that connection and realizing when you leave here, you go do these things. And for others, that is deemed as food. But for you, it's just like when you get into a good conversation, you're really loving someone and you're really cherishing the moment, you forget about eating, you forget about all these different things because
Right.
you get some level of power and energy from that, and we charge each other. And the more that we can continuously build those fields, and we can also become internally aware of our gift into that field, like being responsible basically for the energy that we're bringing into the field, the more we can all have this feast, which is really more of like, for the correct word, almost like an orgasmic connection, that we would all go into a higher level of what our real conjugation, our real connection is about. And I think people now have philosophically realized that, but then they now have to be pointed towards themselves within in order to be able to realize, well, that's going on at every single moment. Balance is something that you got to keep going at every single minute. And that means when you're making those decisions to connect, making sure that you're also using your wisdom in that connection, because that's the only thing that's really judging one thing from another. But all of it you're asking for. And I think that that's the beauty of this, as you were mentioning, and not slamming the suffering and the troubles and the traumas, but them being the alarm clocks that get us all into the awareness that, I need to change up something, and then also, I guess, as an immortal, you really do, if you have good parents, need some type of penalty that is suffered if you're not actually going into the rulership of what your mothers and fathers and ancestors gave you. And so that would be, if I could summarize of what was being said, what I really gained from it. And there's so much more. I want to say this final thing, and there's a few questions. I have noticed now, in tapping now into the quantum field as a habit, that the power of our voice, it's not even really what's being said. It's like, what I do is I get onto the vibration of the tone of the voice. And because every interaction that you've ever had, every person that you ever spoke with, every field that you ever been around is on that vibration, it's like if one just receives that, they get way more than what could be tuned into on the English channel. And it's just that powerful what time that we're coming into. Because also, if you could do that, but you didn't have anyone to do it with, let's say you just always access the foolish channel, then you'd be just as stuck. So it's for us to enjoy for being able to connect with people such as yourself, and being such as yourself, which are clear reflections of us when we get ourselves together. This first question is someone asked, a very open-ended question: what does your meditative practice look like? And I know sometimes, people could want the jewels of the whole thing, but it is just to be. So, just in that awareness, but someone did have that question.
Oh, okay. This is wonderful. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I freely share this information, because I understand that the more people change, that is me. You understand? So my bread and butter is I do Qigong meditations, and mine's is standing like a tree. Now, when you look at a tree out there, they did master photosynthesis. But even though a tree seems still, there's a lot of movement taking place inside. So I'm into the Qigong meditations when I do my retreats, showing people how to get into it and feel their own energy and their own power, because our bodies is automatically coordinating with the atmosphere. Now, if you want to know step by step, on my YouTube channel, Elitom El Amin, I do have different meditations on there dealing with the Qigongs with different groups around the world that you can follow. Also, if you ever get me on social media, it's always stay full, but still, I always do on there to get the crowd going every day, to keep them motivated, doing these Qigong meditations. So the different Qigong meditations are what I usually do, and also teach the microcosmic orbit meditation, and also the Merkaba meditation. But like I said, there's different types of breath work and many others that you can do that you like. But that's the bread and butter right there, is the Qigong. And Qi is the Chinese word for energy, and Gong is for exercise, energy exercise. Now keep in mind how I'm about to say this. All meditations are energy exercises. Yoga is another form of Qigong. That's noticing your energy within stillness. Qigong, Tai Chi is a Qigong. It's a meditation in movement. Because some people prefer being more still, and some people prefer movement. They can't sit still. So get something that fit you and work with it until you see the power of it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. This next question is there a specific focus of meditation for beginners? And I believe that you've answered that question because Qigong does expand in that range. And also you have your YouTube channel for those who want to go back and take the time also to look at that, because we also always recommend that too. You can't distill 2 billion years in 20 minutes. And so at least there is something there that you've already put together. I'm sure you've been doing this for years and bringing the message. So we'll make sure that everyone gets the link so they can go to the channel to check out more about some of the specifics. The next question here is, how do you work with imbalances between you and your partner? Okay.
Now that's a deep one. Oh, I love it too. Because that's what it's all about. Like the brother was saying earlier about our true nourishment is other people on many different levels. And your spouse or the relationship you in, you got to keep in mind that that is a learning journey. You know, sometimes we don't notice it until we make a breakup, you know what I mean? But that's a good learning journey. Now, when you're dealing with these relationships, they do take work. This is no game. This does take work, and you got to work hard at it to keep that energy, to keep that motivation. But I guess the main thing a person wants to do is learn and listen, know that that other person is different than you are, and they are seeing things to this perfect relationship, two energies coming together and this and that. That's usually a person that's not in a relationship. You understand? And the person that's in a relationship is trying to figure out how to be single. but we got to work hard at these things now. And if a relationship is, if they're not meeting you at a certain distance or away, even though you're being sincere, trying to work with it, I'm not telling you what to do. It's all up to you. You understand? But you always seek your health again, because this is a health message. You understand? So even as you start developing on this path, I do seek people who edify me, just like I edify them, because they're nourishment. And usually when energies are pulling from you or taking too much from you, that is what we call a bad relationship. Thank you.
That's beautiful, Elitom. There's a little situation with the audio. You know, we always kind of, it's like a love-hate relationship with the audio, because we're like, man, we want to listen and not say anything and interrupt, but the audio is cutting out just a little bit. So I think I can take a moment to possibly let it breathe. I'm not sure if you can possibly switch internet connections, or
all right,
if you could, what always gives you a bandwidth boost is to even to turn off your video. You know, that of course there's those here who would cry, but you know, it is, if there's no other, it's better they have great sound than, you know, just a great complexion, you know, but you know, it's whatever you choose to do. But I did want to, of course, clear up what you were saying, just so for those that weren't able to hear it clearly. And what the brother was saying is that obviously in a relationship, you're looking to function as one. So there should be a concern for each party to actually be in tune with the energy and to understand, hey, we got to eat off this energy.
Right.
And if you deplete it all on this next argument, then we're both going to starve here. And that's a real relationship. I mean, and that's a real connection versus, let's say, just a relationship. This is two beings operating on separate energy fields, kind of even looking to just feed on each other's energy field versus be able to connect these fields and go into a real union. And
right.
And to understand the difference between the two, and then also that primarily it is your energy that you should be concerned about at the end of the day. Like, don't get yourself completely depleted on something, because that will start disturbing your health, bring you into disease, and then no one will want you anyway in that case, you know, because it's a hard world. So let's try it again and see if maybe we can keep it going on. Actually, I do. Excuse me. I'm supposed to be asking you the questions. I mean, now I'm in a conversation. So the next question is, what advice do you have for a person who, okay, so this is coming again. So who is in a relationship? And I think, you know, again, what the brother was saying is that remember about the energy. And this is a big thing, because I can still probably say, you know, nothing personal, but whoever asked that question has asked that question to themselves a million times. And we can all say that it is the clutch point at times of, do I stay and do I go? And then ultimately what that comes into is actually maturity, because the mature well, the mature understands what to do versus this, the maturity in the situation, I would say, because also the situation is when it becomes more painful for you to stay than you to go, then you leave. And that to me is like the big archetype of human existence in a certain sense, that if we're mature, we know, okay, I can't compromise my energy. I can't compromise myself. I'll probably be better off to everything by just staying on the harmonic level. And if I can't do that in this environment, then I need to eject. But there's also the lessons that must be learned and all the things that make one aware of why one should make that decision. So I guess I won't throw the brother into the conundrum of that, and just let you answer the question for yourself again, either stay or hold. The next question here is, can the good brother expand more on fasting, especially specifically about the changes of the season in its relation to that, which I also love too, how you said that the mucus and everything is like the lubricant, but when the season changes, got to get rid of all that stuff. So if you could get sick at this process because the body is just looking to make a switch. Can you let us know more about that?
Absolutely. Now, when we look at that word fasting, that is a word that a lot of people don't understand, because it's like fast, speeding something up. We didn't really look at it like that, but something is going faster. But when you really get into the etymology of it, it's really a fast is for the discipline of the mind, not really for the body. Because keep in mind, your body and your mind is one. Uh-oh. Now, first of all, when you fast, I do encourage people to fast once a week. It's just like if you got this factory or you're running this machine 24/7. Eventually, you're going to have to do some maintenance on it. You understand? But don't wait till the machine just break down. At least take once a week to do a good check on it, to make sure everything's all right, so it can align itself, and then go back using it again. Because if you're going to live this life or live in this realm, you got a body that's meant to be used. It's okay. You understand? So you ain't got to lock yourself in a room and act like you got to do everything just right. But just know when to do the maintenance on yourself. So that's how you got to start looking at fasting. Now, there's many different levels of fasting. You might first pick the thing that you're doing too much and you know is harming you. It could be drinking too much coffee. So you take a day off of drinking coffee. You might still be smoking cigarettes or smoking something else that's affecting the lungs. Take a time period off from it so your body can heal itself from it. You understand? And then, like when you get into the once a week fasting, be honest on where you at. You don't have to go straight dry fasting if you've never done it before. And if you can't do 24 hours, start on 12 hours. But at least give the body some downtime, because you'd be surprised when the body gets that downtime, it is going straight into its own healing mode. It's not going to ask your permission. It's going to do it because that's what it does by its nature. So whether you go on a juice fast, which is powerful, a water fast, or a dry fast if you're ready for it, at least give it that time once a week to keep the system going. Now, I would tell you this, when I first started fasting, to tell you where I was at, I used to go to my favorite restaurant before the fast started. And then when the 24 hours was up, guess what? I was outside the restaurant waiting for the fast to be over with. That's how I began. But I was proud that I did the 24 hours. Now, over a period of time, the fast will get easier because the body is a creature of habits. It got its own eternal clock. Try to at least keep the same day each time. You don't need to overdo it and everything else. Because usually when people learn about breatharianism, they think the longer they fast, they're going to faster way to breatharianism, and that's not what's going to do it. You understand? Take your time, love yourself, enjoy yourself, but allow the body to do the work for you. Now, dealing with season changes. Okay, you got the once a week cycle. Now you got about, 4 season changes throughout the year. And when you start fasting during a season change, our body is so hooked up to nature, so hooked up to the matrix. If the external environment changes, our body changes with it. That's why we get these flu-like symptoms. So since you know this is coming, that's when you fast to clean yourself out so your body can make a smooth transition with the season change. We're already in tune. The body's already consecrated, and it don't lie. You're just becoming aware that this is taking place. See, the body knows how to be breatharian. You're just becoming aware on how to allow it to grow within that energy. See, if you try to force a flower to open, you'll damage it. This is an allowing. I hope that answered.
I like that. That's very powerful. The next question here is athlete breatharian. How does it work? Like, what happens here? You know, is there a world for the two, or does he need to tap into some vibranium first? Because a lot of energy being burned. This is the question. Just can an athlete use the breatharian practice, and how would that be able to sustain them with the energetic needs?
All right. Now we're creators now. We're in this mode of talk now. You are grabbing back the creative process of these energies that all of us have access to, and your body is like the avatar that you can play with. Or have you ever played the video games and you get to do your character the way you want to? Here we go now. Now, life is an experience on how you want to use these energies. So if you want to be a sumo wrestler, there's a certain type of body you need to have. So don't worry about being a breatharian if you want to be a sumo wrestler, because the requirement is you got to eat a lot of food. All right, let's be real with it now. And there's a body for many different things. Now, there is what you call a breatharian body. All right, that's a body with less body fat. Nobody's arguing that. However, it will be energetically the best health of your life. That's why your sleep will decrease. The reason why you sleep is to get more energy. So when you start getting this other energy, you know, being a breatharian, you will sleep less, or you can eradicate sleep altogether. Right now, I sleep like 2 to 4 hours a night. That shows that the body is healthy. Now, I'm 50 years old, and this is the healthiest body I've ever been in. In other words, I did a 700-mile bike ride not too long ago, and I didn't even train or practice for it. I just decided to ride a bike one day since I came back to America. And it ended up being 700 miles later. And I did that over a little over a week. Now, I'm not boasting or bragging or nothing, but I am. When you are on this energy, you're going to recreate it to its highest level. That's why you're doing this in the first place. See, like the brother was saying, not only we're talking longevity, we're also opening up immortality. The body does regenerate itself, you know, throughout the years on different cycles. We're here now. We're talking about this. So being an athlete, and since I'm telling you about harnessing this energy, and here I am not eating and drinking and just did 700 miles on a bike, that kind of answered your question. Yes, you will have more energy than ever on whatever you want to pursue. See, the bad thing about it, I'm dealing with people now who was in the other paradigm where they were bodybuilders. They had to eat a lot of protein, had to eat a lot of carbohydrates to get these real big muscles. But come to find out, that was bad for their health. As they aged, the body got worse off now. Now, the strength exercises I do is resistant exercises. You understand? So not only you tear down the muscle, you give it time to rest. You understand? We do that with anything. But by doing a resistant exercises, even though I have less body fat, my body is cut up. I got the arms, I got the chest, I got the six-pack abs. All of that is in play. You got the best body you will ever have. If you really take your time, work with yourself, and you can sculpt it just like you want to, you got the energy to do it. Guaranteed.
Absolutely. You know, I just wanted to, especially in light of this next question, you know, just bring everyone abreast of, you know, as creators, as the brother's saying, that you can't even go on any past knowledge about what works and what doesn't work, or it's just going to mess you up. What you have to do is you also have to use wisdom and common sense, and also realize that you have the power to shape things, especially over time. So if you wanted to run your body on the most purest fuels, you will still win in the end of the day if you can make that conversion, because you would have more energy and your energetic system would be lighter and more efficient. And that's just how it works. That's how machinery works. That's how electronics work. That's how, which are all models of the body. That's how it works. But it does take you also to not be trying to convince yourself all the time that it doesn't work, which I think is the bigger enemy in the tense of when you're going against the norm and you're pioneering something new. You know, just listening to the chatter and what they say about it could throw you off your game. This final question here is actually addressed to me and you, and I probably can relieve you of the burden of answering it as you wish. It says, how can we connect this knowledge with the knowledge we have on enzymes, our microbiome, hydrogen, our dream worlds to get all spokes on the wheel, etc.? And again, I'll just jump right into this. If you wanted to add anything towards the end, you could definitely do so on this. And just because I'm abreast of less of what they're asking, because we've been digging deep into the enzymes and we've been talking about the microbiome. And okay, so then there's one final question, which I'll kind of clean that up. And then I do want to, again, respect the time, because I know that these phones and these things can, have a tendency to be draining at a certain point. So I'll just keep that in mind. So the question I just want to address directly to the person now, based on everything that we've learned from our master teacher at this point, especially on this breath and our ancestors, our connection with ourselves, which we're all looking at reflection of ourselves, what it's saying is that these energies, as you know, if you study any of these sciences, can go all the way up into gases, to ether, to pneuma, to all of this stuff that you can't even see. Just like water is clear, air is you can't see it, but it's the most powerful things. And no matter what you add to your system, whether it's hydrogen, whether it's enzymes, etc., if they're coming into an environment like this, they're going to be charged up. They're only going to enter into a better stage, and they're only going to be able to assist you in getting to that next stage. So all this knowledge is saying the same thing. We have the ability to discern internally, like we know what's bad for us, even if we choose to do it. What may not work for us, we have that internally without asking anyone about it. And then we even have the higher levels of knowledge now that give us more refinements of exactly why that works. And so in conclusion, what I would say is that all of this stuff is here to assist us if we're willing to assist ourselves by using the common sense and the wisdom. And then the final question was, how do you avoid getting too thin? Actually, I'll let you address that one, brother, because I've also kind of had my bouts with that with my diet and understanding, how to keep on the weight that I feel like I need sometimes. But the question is that how do you avoid getting too thin on the diet or on the breatharianism?
Now, that's a wonderful question, and I'm glad you brought that up. This is why you want to take your time and give your body time to make these adjustments into the new program. The problem with some people is they go too fast, you understand, and people around you, they start saying, oh, you're getting too skinny, you look sick, and that recording start playing in your mind. And that could be real crucial, and you get scared, that fear, I understand it. Now, there's parameters that will tell you that you're living on more, let's use the word prana, energy or breath. Now, through meditation, as you're being consistent, that's what you want to do. Be consistent working with this energy. You understand? One of the parameters is, first of all, you'll start getting healthier. You'll feel it. You'll feel stronger. You'll feel more alive. That's the indication that the energy channels are opening up and you got more energy. Number two, your sleep will decrease. It will decrease. When you start working with these energies through meditation and really keep the body going, your energy when you sleep will decrease. That's the indication that you're getting a lot more prana or energy flow within the body. And last but not least, your weight will stagnate itself to its perfect weight. That's why you want to go slow and not too fast. When you're on this cycle and you're giving your body time, it will get used to each new program. And when you're at a certain weight, just stay there for a while and enjoy it. Don't try to rush it. Then when your body got used to that weight, then you can start purging even more, and your body will slowly go into a weight that you're comfortable with, and everybody around you will be comfortable with. That's the thing about it. You understand? So that's why you want to take it slow as you're downloading this lifestyle into the body. And like the brother was saying, there's so many levels and degrees from the microbiomes and stuff like that on the frequencies and the energies they're dealing with. Your body knows how to be a breatharian, coming from the heart chakra that's coming off of us, but your weight will stagnate itself at its perfect weight when it gets there, and it won't go no lower. You are on actually the perfect diet. So even when you eat an orange and say, I'm getting my vitamin C, how much vitamin C you take? You don't know. But when you working with energy, it will give you the right amount of energy you need. Just like when you charge up the cell phone. because basically you're using the same energy that charges up your cell phone. That's why Nicola Tesla was saying there's electricity in the atmosphere. That's what we're charging up with. See, when you sleep at night, that's an unconscious meditation. And when you meditate, that's unconscious sleep. So when you're charging up on a cell phone, when your cell phone has 80% charge, it's no rush to really get it charged up that much. So you really don't need to meditate that long. But when it's down to like 10%, you need to charge up more. So as you learn how to work with these energies and know how much charged up you need, your weight will stabilize itself when you master the process of these energies. And I hope that answered it.
I really like the way that you put that also, because it answers one question that would confuse many people, which is, you know, that if we have like 100% on the body, just like some of these devices, it's even possible that we could be burning too much energy. And like if the body says, well, this is all the energy I really need, and then we're constantly feeding the body, oh, here's more, it could start getting used to being bigger and more aggressive. But it's like, what are you doing with that though? You're just sitting there frustrated. So there's a conception that these energies that we need to be charged up, and we be over there like, ugh! And that's right. Not really what we're talking about, right? Like we're talking about a person actually being able to stay at their optimal level, and the body knowing what that level is. I'm going to go ahead and summarize here. Also, I did want you to take an opportunity, brother, to, if you had anything additionally that you wanted to share, also, just so it's on the recording, it will be also in the description. If you wanted to give out your site name and in your YouTube page, that would be great, because then it'll be on the recording, and for people who wanted to go and check out more of your work or your fun, I always love to say.
Right. Absolutely. So right now, yeah, you can contact my website on Elitom El Amin.org. And the YouTube channel, I do try to hit each and every subject if you got more questions. I got the liquid journey on dealing with liquids, different forms of meditations, and constantly talking different modes of how energy works. You know, it is real educational, and it's helping a lot of people around the world. So those are my two outlets right there that you can keep in touch with. And also, always feel free to contact me on my email, which is Elamin Elitom reversed at gmail.com. I do the best I can to try to get around to answer questions. And let's keep encouraging each other. Get your groups together. You're doing a wonderful job. I love y'all. And see, all I'm doing is reminding you of stuff you already know. You know this. You know what to do. So keep up the good work, and let's go ahead and shine like never before.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for coming in. And I trust that we'll be able to build soon, possibly on one of you. We can do a little simulcast on your morning Qigong practices and exercises. I would love for us to get in on something like that. And until we link again, I know that we're always linked, not only through the breath and through the spirit. And I definitely see us as going forward together. Thank you so much for taking your time and coming in and delivering. Also, I will leave Widgeby here also, just because if she had any final words, she was obviously the conduit of us knowing you and being with you today. So we appreciate her for that. And also all those that are on the line, the ambassadors, it's lit. Like we've arrived, like it's on point. Like we're going to another stage. We got a brand new platform coming, and we're talking about changing the world. So this is how we do it, though, one person at a time, inside of ourselves, understanding things, and then coming out and sending this love into the universe, into the cosmos. That's what it is. Unity.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I love y'all so much.
Love you, brother. Wholeness.
Wholeness. Thank you.
Wholeness tribe.
Wholeness.
Wholeness.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Wholeness.
Wholeness.
Thank you so much.
Wholeness.
Wholeness tribe.
Wholeness.
Soak it up, soak it up.
Wholeness.
Wholeness, everybody.
Wholeness tribe.
Wholeness.
So amazing, so deep.
Wholeness.
Yo,